Welcome to the latest episode of the Land and Blast podcast. I'm Sam Terrell, and today I'm here with Evan Kaseberg.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah.
And finding this gorgeous place along the John Day.
Yeah. It's in the middle of nowhere and I like it.
Exactly. And so this is another episode on the Get to Know Us series, taking you through different members of the MOPG team. And honestly, I'd just like to kind of ask you some questions, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Who is Evan Kaseberg? You know, and like, what's your background? Kind of where did you grow up? And then how did that lead you into real estate?
So I grew up in Sherman County, Oregon, which is the north central part of the state, between the John Day, Deschutes, and Columbia rivers. I've always had a background in production agriculture, dryland wheat farming, registered Angus cattle.
And when you say a background, what does that mean?
I grew up with it. My family's had the same wheat farm since the late 1800s.
Okay.
And then my dad's always had registered Angus cattle. From there, I went to school at Oregon State in Corvallis and got an ag business degree. And actually, one of the courses I took was farm and ranch real estate that one of our team members, Ashley Lacer, actually taught.
Small world, man.
It really came full circle.
That's cool.
Yeah. And that was the first kind of introduction to real estate that I'd ever really had. I'd never thought about it as a career. And I enjoyed the class. I actually wanted to become an appraiser. And now that I'm a broker, I'm glad I'm not an appraiser.
What was that decision-making process like? Like, how did you arrive at appraiser and then switch?
So I really enjoyed the class. Like the whole class was basically, the whole term was one big appraisal project. And we went out, toured a farm, and then went through all the steps of putting an appraisal together and then coming to our conclusion of value.
Yeah.
And it was a term length project. And I really enjoyed it. It was enjoyable to go out to the farm, look at it, and then try and find comparable sales, come up with the different aspects of value, and then reconcile it all together and come up with a value.
Wild. And then from that, I mean, so how did that lead into real estate, I guess?
It actually was, I mean, I wanted to be an appraiser, but there weren't really any openings, at least that I wanted to pursue when I graduated. And so I actually went home, worked on the ranch for a couple years, and then a local real estate company in Baker City asked if I wanted to try real estate with them and become a broker. And I had never thought about the brokerage side of things, but I decided to do it. And so I spent about 3 years doing mostly residential, small acreage sales around Baker County.
Okay.
And that really developed my background and gave me a very good base of knowledge. And I learned a ton. It was a great experience and I learned a lot. Also knowing that farm and ranch real estate was probably where I wanted to end up after I got into real estate.
Sure.
I do feel like the residential side gave me a strong background and a foundation of how real estate works.
Yeah.
And then from there, I transitioned into farm and ranch and more rural, a little larger size properties.
Sure. So with the transition from residential to rural, what between those two industries, because I mean, it's all in real estate, but what was the biggest difference, I guess, when you made that switch that you noticed right away or that kind of showed itself over time?
The biggest difference is definitely with the frequency in which deals close. I mean, residential deals close a lot more frequently, and then you get into the larger acreage, bigger price points. They're bigger deals, but they close a lot less frequency. I mean, you can close 2 or 3 deals a year, or you can close 30 to 35 doing residential or more. I mean, it's the scope and work is somewhat similar. I mean, the due diligence and diving into the properties and all the characteristics, there's a large difference, but there's also a lot of similarities between even a residential and a farm and ranch deal.
Sure.
As far as the basics go.
Gotcha. And then, I mean, we're kind of touching on a couple different things, but there's a big difference, I guess, in the main aspects, the main tenets between residential and rural real estate. And obviously, you came into it with a appraising mindset. You had grown up around, like grown up in a rural lifestyle, for lack of a better phrase. So, in this industry, what are some of the aspects that you love most about it, or kind of like keeping the fire alive to pursue it as a career?
Probably I enjoy helping other other, I guess, rural landowners. I mean, either purchase additional ground or it's someone buying land for the first time. I enjoy exposing them to the lifestyle that I grew up with and that I still live today.
Yeah.
I just enjoy, I guess, the rural lifestyle, and I like helping people experience that.
So, talking about the lifestyle you live today, what's a day in the life of Evan? What does that look like?
It changes throughout the year. Right now, we're feeding cows every day, and here in about a month, we'll start calving.
Okay.
And so, I mean, we'll still be feeding, we'll be calving.
And it's cold right now, right? Or
Yeah,
is it?
it was 14 below a couple weeks ago. It's been pretty warm lately, but
Sounds miserable. I had
it's not
negative
too.
6 for the first time in my life, and that was crazy the other week. I hadn't suffered cold like that before, so negative 14 to me still sounds pretty chilly.
It's not too bad.
Copy that.
But no, we're just feeding cows and getting ready to calve. And calving usually takes 2 months, 2.5 months to get done. And then after calving's over, we'll start branding and turning out into the hills, and then irrigating and putting up hay. And when that's done, we wean in the fall and do it all over again.
So how does real estate fit into that, or how do you balance those two worlds? Because that sounds like a lot of work on the home front, and then a lot of work on the work front.
It can be challenging at times, but both lifestyles can be somewhat flexible. So if I have something I absolutely need to do real estate wise, I mean, I can, and my wife helps. She covers for me when I'm gone, which helps a ton. I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't having her. But they're both pretty flexible. I mean, I can kind of move things around to make it work. I mean, there are some things that no matter what, I'm not going to be able to shift things around. But one nice thing about dealing in these types of properties is most clients understand what's going on. I mean, they understand running cows and farming, and I mean, when things need to get done, they need to get done.
Yeah.
And so more often than not, they're pretty flexible. I mean, if we need to move things a day or even just later in the day,
Yeah.
they understand. So it is nice to work with people that, for the most part, are accustomed to farming and ranching.
Sure. And between the farming and ranching stuff, just on a personal side, I know you play a fair amount of golf.
Yeah.
What, like, because we're talking a lot about work and a lot about, stuff we do professionally, but with everything that's going on, how do you find time to pursue personal interest, or what outside of work are you into?
I mean, honestly, if I can get away and go play golf, that works for me.
Yeah.
Because I do enjoy ranching and running cows and all that. I mean, that makes me happy, so I don't really look at it as work.
Good. Cool.
So,
That's nice.
yeah,
It must be nice, right? Yeah.
it's helpful.
Yeah. And so other than golf, because you and Cass went on this fantastic looking fly fishing trip recently.
Yeah.
What was that?
We went fishing. It was for our anniversary on the Grand Ron River. Just up from the confluence with the Snake. And so we went on a float trip and caught some steelhead and some trout, and it was a lot of fun. Saw some bighorn sheep.
Oh, very cool. That looked like an epic adventure. How long was the trip?
It was a one-day float. It was, I think, 12 or 13 miles, something like that.
So yeah, out there all day.
Yeah.
Very cool. I guess kind of looking at it seems like you have a lot of irons in the fire. You have a lot going on on
Yeah.
a day-to-day basis. So, because we just come out, it's 2024 now. We just came out of January. First week of February is when we're filming this. And we just did for our team a bunch of goal setting stuff where we got together and talked about personal situations, what we want to do in our personal lives versus what we want to do in our professional lives to kind of get 2024 off on the right foot, for
Yeah.
lack of a better phrase. what did you have in mind coming into 2024 on kind of like the personal goal side that now as we're entering into February, has anything changed, or kind of what's like the main tenet of what you want this year to be for you on a personal side or a business side, but more on the personal side? Is there anything you're striving for?
Personally, it's always finding the right balance between work and personal relationships, and just, it's always changing, but trying to fine tune that to be more consistent. That's probably the biggest thing, is just keep fine tuning the proper balance between work and life.
Sure. And then on the work side, I guess, because you've had some milestones in this past year from some of these big events that have occurred on the professional side of things, from representing, big properties to, production ground. Is there anything that you're looking at professionally in 2024 that you want to maximize, or are you, is there things that you were focusing on before where you're now looking at it and go, I might want to switch this to a different area of focus?
I would say, like I said, I grew up in North Central Oregon, and now I live in Baker County in Eastern Oregon. And so I truly love all of Central and Eastern Oregon, and so I enjoy trying to cover this area real estate wise. And so I'm trying to continue to push into some of those areas and close some deals in some new places. Anywhere from Sherman County, Gillum County, to all the way to Baker County, Malheur County. I enjoy all of Eastern Oregon, and so I'm just trying to kind of keep establishing myself as a broker in that area.
Sure. As a broker in that area, I would imagine that when you're dealing with the clientele, there's certain tenets that I think you'd probably want to embody. Are there certain values that you take from your personal life and put into your business? I know, like, honor, integrity, that kind of stuff. You're a super honest and trustworthy guy. Is there anything that you focus on or would like people to know about how you approach this business, especially working with people on this level of, like, these types of properties?
The biggest thing, and it's pretty easy, and everybody just wants you to be upfront. And everybody's got a lot going on in their own lives, personally, work-wise. So if you're just upfront with them right off the bat, and you don't pull any punches, you just are upfront with them, 99% of people appreciate that. They don't want to have smoke blown up their
Tailpipe.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just being honest and upfront, people appreciate that, and it cuts out a lot of bullshit, for lack of a better way to put it.
Absolutely, yeah. Have you encountered, this is more just like a personal question I'm curious about. Have you ever encountered, I guess, people when they react to your specific level of knowledge and are surprised, kind of with your frankness and, kind of the no BS type approach? Does that surprise people, or are they kind of accustomed to that? What's that like when you interact?
I can't say anyone's surprised. I would say that they appreciate it more than anything. I'd say most people hope that that's how they'll be dealt with. And so when you present yourself that way, it's kind of a breath of fresh air for them.
Yeah. Yeah, changing up kind of the standard, I guess, view of real estate brokers, maybe, or...
Yeah, and that's, I might go overboard on it sometimes, but the last thing that I want to be looked at is just a salesman. I would just as soon somebody not close a deal for the right reasons than have them buy a property and instantly regret it. Sure. Or have it put them in a negative financial situation that could have been avoided. I would much rather lose a deal that doesn't work than have someone buy a property that leads them down a road to other problems.
And that sounds like the ideal version of what we do. Acting as like an advocate or true fiduciary for the people that we represent.
Exactly.
So in your world, how much of your business is built on relationships versus, I guess, kind of like door knocking, for lack of a better phrase? Like, how do you approach, like, kind of networking in your community? It's because I know that you're pretty tapped in.
The vast majority of my business is, I mean, through my sphere of influence, people that either I know or my family knows or my wife knows. I mean, Eastern Oregon, it's a big area, but it's a small world.
Yeah.
And so if you do things right, people will let their friends know. I mean, when you do a good job, people will let other people know about it. I mean, they want their friends to be taken care of, and so they'll spread the word for you. And that's the best thing you can do is a good job for your clients, and they'll become your biggest proponents.
Yeah. And in my world, the things that I've heard about Evan, just in case anybody's wondering, is that he's the go-to guy in Eastern Oregon. That's pretty much been the standout statement, is that as far as a good guy to work with and somebody that knows their stuff, you're like the guy to go to. So
I
I mean,
appreciate it.
yeah, I mean, you're welcome, and it's not just me saying that. There's a lot of other people, and so I guess, is there, as you've navigated this, because it seems like a balance between your day-to-day life and also your professional life, has there been a particularly memorable or rewarding experience that you've had? Because you did touch on like helping people buy for the first time or helping families out. Is there an experience that was particularly rewarding or memorable as you've gone through your career in the rural side of things that's occurred, like a specific transaction that you remember or a series of them or anything like that?
The first $1 million deal I did, I mean, it was notable because it was the largest deal I'd ever done, but I'd also helped some family friends expand their farming operation. And so, I mean, I took a lot of satisfaction out of that, out of helping them and expand their operation so that their kids will have an opportunity to come back and farm.
So that's quite literally perpetuating the lifestyle that you live, or it seems like it.
Yeah.
And that had to feel good, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I enjoy working with all different types of buyers, but I mean, honestly, if I can help people that are in production agriculture expand their operations, or even if it's selling part of their operation to get to the next phase of their life, I enjoy working with, I mean, for lack of a better way to put it, I mean, generational type families that are in farming and ranching.
Yeah. On that note, I'm just curious, what are you seeing now? Kind of with that generational side of things, and I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it, but it's almost like as we're moving into this more, I don't know, less rural focused lifestyle that the world seems to be moving into. Is there a changing of the guard that you're seeing in your community or the surrounding counties, or what does that look like generation to generation right now?
I mean, there's definitely more people purchasing rural properties that didn't grow up in a rural area. I mean, that being said, they might not have, but maybe their parents did or their grandparents did. And so they've got a connection, even if it's distant, to a rural lifestyle, and they want to get back to that. Or either they grew up that way and had to move away and now they're moving back, or their parents did and they always grew up going to their grandparents' farm and they want to give that experience to their kids or their grandkids. I enjoy helping people do that.
Yeah.
It's a rewarding way to live. It's fulfilling, and I enjoy helping people accomplish that.
Is that mindset, like the rewarding aspect to what we do, is that what you think sets you apart or sets our team apart, or anything else that might set us as a group apart from other brokers or other ranch brokers?
It's hard to speak for other brokers, but I would say our group, we genuinely care about our clients, and it's more of a relationship-based business than a transaction-based business. I enjoy checking up on past clients and seeing how they're doing, if their investments have worked out for them the way that they envisioned, whether it's a recreational piece or it's a farming and ranching piece that helped expand their operation.
Yeah. Because I know when I first started, because we came onto the team around the same time, and I was really new to real estate at that time in my career, but I was super heavy on the business first mentality, giving people business cards and trying to network and, hey, list with me or do this with me and blah, blah, blah. And I was following, the book
Yeah.
to the T, to the letter, but it didn't pan out. And I was really confused because I'm, kind of an egghead and was like, hey, like, this is what it says to do in the instruction manual. Why is this not working? And then as of late, and we've talked about it at a team level, but we've all kind of moved more into that relationship first mindset, and I know for my business it's proving dividends. It seems like it's a foundation and main tenet for yours. Is is that helping build brand awareness for you, or is that helping you connect with people that might be a little bit more outside your sphere?
I think so. I mean, people can tell when you genuinely care about them and their family.
Yeah,
And they can tell when they're just another deal for you and just another paycheck.
sure,
So when they feel appreciated and taken care of, they're going to tell their family and friends, and organically your reputation and your business will naturally grow. And I think that that's a much more sustainable business model than just trying to chase an abstract number of deals to make things work.
sure.
Eventually you run out of just deals to make.
Yeah. Let's pull back from the business stuff. I know we're kind of hammering that a lot. I'm curious more about you because you and I have gotten to know each other over the past few years a little bit. What is like, I know that you got a lot going on, but like, what's something that you're just really like stoked on right now? Like, is there anything going on in the background that's like a pet project or something like that that you're ramped on?
Um, it's about calving season, and
Yeah.
that's calving season is probably my favorite time of the year. I like the genetics behind the cows and studying those, and so every year you get a new batch of genetics, and I enjoy that. So I'm looking forward to that. And I mean, working on the ranch, I get to spend time with my wife, and that's when we spend most of our time together, and so I appreciate that. It's not easy all the time, but
Sure. No,
it's quality time.
good deal.
And then I got a golf trip coming up in May, so I'm pretty excited
Oh,
about
nice.
that.
Where's that going to be?
St. George, Utah, and Mesquite, Nevada.
And take me through that. What's a Evan Kaseberg golf trip look like?
We're gonna fly down to Las Vegas and drive up, and we'll play 7 rounds of golf in 4 days.
Okay.
We basically just golf and eat and sleep.
Yeah. You're
And
going at 7 rounds in 4 days. That's hammering.
yeah, you hit it hard and come back and get back to work.
So do you play in tournaments or anything like that too, or is it mostly just hanging with buddies and going to play a couple
Yeah,
times
I
a year?
play in a couple tournaments, and only one of them's like an individual tournament. Usually there's at least one other person you're playing with. I mean, it's more of a social deal than I am competitive, but it's a good way to hang out with your friends.
Sure. What's your favorite course that you've played?
It's been a long time ago, but I played Pacific Dunes down at Bandon,
Yeah.
and it's the most beautiful place to play golf in the world.
I haven't been out there. My brother-in-law was just down there, I think, a couple of weeks ago playing. It was like his first golf trip in a while, and he
Yeah.
sent some photos. It looked stunning. It looks almost like Scotland or something, kind of because it's against the coast, right?
Yeah, it's right on the coast, and it's link style, so I mean it's styled on Scottish and English golf. So it's golf. I mean how it was originally invented. It's a little more modern take on it, but I mean it's beautiful.
Is it a tough course?
They're They can be, but actually, I mean, link style typically they're a little more wide open. I mean, you can hit it kind of all over the place, and I mean, you can find the ocean or you can find some gorse and find some trouble, but they're actually pretty playable.
Awesome. Yeah, I still want to. I need to work on my golf game. I look like a double left-footed 4-year-old playing golf, but I'd love to get on the links with you sometime because I played, oh, not too long ago, but it was really fun. It kind of like rekindled an interest in. I think I called you and was like, hey, I'm
Yeah,
gonna go play golf and see how this goes. But I made par in a couple holes, and I consider that a victory.
there you go.
For
That's one good shot will keep you coming back.
sure. No, that's fun. And so I don't know what. I just want to know more about you and kind of that's what this whole series is about, is just kind of pulling the curtain back, I guess. Because we promote ourselves in our industry. We talk a lot about work, but as people that are truly putting relationships with others first, it's kind of nice to share personal stuff. And I guess I was kind of curious, like, what is there anything that you have always wanted to do, either on the personal side, like is it like an ideal golf course that you've never played, or on the professional side, like something like, hey, I've always wanted to have my own TV show or something like that, because I know that that's your main focus.
Yeah.
No, no. Is there something that you haven't done yet on either side of the personal professional fence that that you'd like to do sometime in the near future, or have your kind of your heart, your eyes set on?
I mean, personally, the biggest thing, I mean, starting a family, that's the biggest thing for us right now.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else that would be more rewarding. So personally, that would be it. Professionally, I want to keep growing my business, but I want to grow it what I feel is the right way. And I want to keep helping people, and as I help more and more people and genuinely care about them and their successes, that'll naturally grow my business. And try not to get caught up in just strictly the numbers of deals, but helping people and furthering their investments and dreams and helping them that way.
It seems like you're well on your way in that category from, what I'm watching and what I'm hearing. It's awesome. And then what does Cassie think about all this? What does your wife think about the real estate balancing with because my wife has her own opinions about all this stuff. How does that play into the day to day?
I mean, she's a tremendous help, because I wouldn't be able to run cows without her being at home. And I mean, she has her own set of cows and works with her parents. And so, I mean, it all blends together pretty well. She's just happy on the ranch. I mean, she loves ranching. It's what she's passionate about. She's very good at it. And so that's where she wants to be. I don't think she's not jealous of having to interact with the general public.
Fair.
She's fine staying home at Hereford.
That's cool. And how did y'all meet?
We were introduced by some mutual friends. So, yeah.
Just kind of hit it off. How long ago was that? Because you guys have been married for a year and change, 2 years?
A little over 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah, it was, I mean, we had a lot of mutual interests and actually a lot of friends. We just had never met, and yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, it seems like it worked out well. That's awesome.
Yeah, you're supposed to marry up, and I did that.
Good deal.
Not so much on her.
We won't tell her. We won't share this with her. Yeah, no. No, that's wonderful. And yeah, I think, for you, if there was anything that you could share with people, kind of like as maybe like a takeaway from this video, is there anything that you'd like to kind of share on the podcast about what you're working on now, or kind of how you could best help other people if they saw this, be like, hey, Evan's my guy for this reason? Is there anything that comes to mind?
No.
Well, let me rephrase it. How about, that was a bad question. That's on me. Moving forward into 2024, as we're seeing certain aspects of the market shift, what's something that maybe could be a takeaway for potential clients to keep in mind coming towards the middle of Q1, moving into summertime, for potential people that are thinking about selling, kind of questioning the market, maybe more like a takeaway on that front? Is there anything that you'd like to share from the rural side?
I'm even with a little higher interest rates, there's still deals being done. We're starting to get a little more creative on how deals are structured. My last few deals have been owner carried transactions, and if the seller's in the position that it works for them financially, it's a way that they can make money off the interest, and maybe the buyers can get an interest rate that's below the current market mortgage rates. And so deals are starting to become a little more creative, as opposed to just getting an appraisal and a typical conventional loan.
Yeah.
Deals are still going on, but you got to be a little more creative to maybe get some things across the finish line.
If whatever you could share, what's the most creative thing that you've had to structure for somebody?
On a recent one, we had the down payment was split up into 2 different down payments. Then it was the property had been for sale for a little while, and it was what worked for the buyer, and the sellers were comfortable with it. And so we were able to split their down payment up into 2 different payments, and it made it attainable for the buyer, and it worked out, and we got it closed.
Heck yeah. So I'm back. My camera turned off because I'm that guy. But Evan, this has been an absolute pleasure, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No, thanks for coming out and driving to the middle of nowhere to film with
It's my favorite place, the middle of nowhere.
This is gorgeous. And so just for those that are looking in Central or Eastern Oregon, this is Evan Kaseberg, stand-up dude, fantastic member of our team. I love working with him. And thank you so much, Evan.
Thanks, Sam.
You're welcome. Land and Blast Podcast, baby. Get to know us.
See ya.